I'm going to start with a Nook today, and the reason being that Kathy's painted the back of the Anderson shelter arbour seat for me. She's chosen this colour, and I don't think it's too bad. I probably would have chosen a darker colour, but she's chosen that, and I think that's all right. Don't know if you'll agree on that. So it's a bit paler. I was hoping to go for the darker green, a bit like the door, but I can live with that. So what I want to do is a quick rumble around the borders first, and then I'm going to show you what I've been up to this weekend. So everything's still growing. It's growing like mad at the minute. Everything's gone mad. I'm not really happy with this border still, because since I moved the spirea, it's ended up exposing the fact that there's hundreds of different spring flowering bulbs, and half of them I recognise, some I don't, and I need to remove them because they're not going to go in with my way of thinking, especially for the border. I'll show you this again. This is Viburnum Birkwoodii, one called Park Farm Hybrid, and if you stood where I'm stood now, you get this lovely aroma coming from it, and it's fantastic. They are lovely flowers as well, but they smell delicious. The roses are still doing the thing. Carrying on now, getting some lovely colours. I like it when it gets to this point. I guess that's my favourite, when it gets to that stage. A lot nicer when they get to that stage, and then obviously it's going to flower. Let's go through here. Now, this is a Euphorbia epithemoides, and it's called the cushion, or pincushion spurge, and you can see why. It's a low mound, probably get bigger than that by the time it's finished in the next 2 or 3 years, but for now that's looking good. I've done another move of the grass, so that Miscanthus cheiugensis I've moved. I've yet to do the Beth Chatto one, I've yet to split it. But Beth Chatto isn't clumping up as fast as I'd like, but it's okay nevertheless, because I want to split it up and get more plants from it, really. That's the one there, the brown one. You can see the new leaves are starting. So I've been messing around quite a lot actually over the last couple of days. Besides what I'm going to show you, I've been messing around with different plants, getting them right, and just seeing what's working. This is Miscanthus giganteus jubilaris, and it's got so many new leaves this year. It's amazing. There's just so many. And I guess I'm putting it down to this wet weather we've just had, and it's now warming up lovely. Tulips are coming on wonderful at the minute. I'm not a big tulip fan, but that red one that you can see there, all the rest of them are the same colour. So I left this cluster because Kathy kind of likes, well, she does like tulips. I'm not a big fan of them, but I've left them for her. Euphorbias, they are at their best at the moment. They are looking absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. I've got quite a few in the garden. They're doing really, really well. And my own Malachi, which still refuses to flower, but it has those lovely red tips which are now dissipating and disappearing, but they are still just there. They will go. But it has a lovely rounded shape. There's nothing wrong with it not flowering, but I'm sure it's flowered in the past for me, but it's refusing to flower now. I've checked everything, and it's nothing I've done. And that's that. This is one of the Himalayan rhubarbs starting again in that dustbin, if you remember from last year. Rhea Mostrale. That's looking good. Everything else is coming along nice, so there's not really too much to show you that's new, except to say that everything's popping its head up now and is looking really good. That Rhea palmatum, which I've now narrowed down to atrasanguineum, and I believe it is that. He's looking really good. Let's get a closer look at it, because it has these wonderful colours. Absolutely stunning. It goes through these different changes and eventually it will go to green. Now the downside at the moment is we're expecting probably later in the month more frosts, and if that hasn't got big enough it will affect it and I'll end up losing one or two of the leaves. It's fairly hardy and it will come back if it lost them all, but I don't want to lose them. The wildlife area is looking good. I've added some more rocks, if you notice, near the dustbin. I've put a few more in around there and it's looking really good. That was a bit of a causeway that I had in, it was just gravel if you remember, but I've added a few more and it looks nice. I like it. I like it. Let's have a look from here. So there you go. So everything's coming on a treat, and what I want to show you is this. What I've done today is this. We finally used the round window. There it is, in all its glory. That has took a few choice words, to say the least. I've added some wood, and because I wanted to make you feel enclosed in here, and it's always been the intention, but we've got to wait for the roses to grow. And until the roses grow, there's nothing I can do about making it more secluded. A bit like what we had to do up at, when it was the secret garden that is now the Nook. I've had to sort of rush ahead with the process. So I've put these in, and I really wanted to do this early on, but I resisted doing it. But now I've done it. We've put the window in. There's a little bit of titivating to do, but it looks great. The reason it's done is a point of interest. And it's hopefully over time, once that rose covers that back end, you'll still see the wood, the slatted wood. You'll see through the window, because I shall ensure that that does not get covered up with roses at all, and I will clip them around it. But you get to see, what it does is it brings you up to it, makes you want to look through it. And that's its intended purpose. Well, that's just what it's doing. And that's just an old window that was taken out of I think it was a 1970s house and given to us. So it just looks brilliant and it just works straight away, as you can see. That looks great. That's a point of interest now and works the best it ever has so far. And this is the point of this area, is that to give you some sort of a seclusion. Don't forget we're going to have the roses growing over it. We're having clematis growing over it. And I'm going to find one or two more climbers to go over it to give it that enclosed look as quick as I can. I can only go so fast with it, but it's looking really good. So the other thing I did, I made the decision that I would actually put more railway sleepers in. And I have done just that. So the opposite side from what I did the other ones, we've got more railway sleepers, and there they are. So all that's left to do now is put in the tiles and the bricks, of which I'm not attempting obviously this weekend because I need to get some sand, etc. to lay them on. And they're what I'm going to be using. Obviously I've got a lot more than that. But they're what I'm going to be using. And they shall start here, and they're going to be intersected. Every 7 rows of tile will have an intersection of bricks sort of facing you. So we'll go 7 up, and then there'll be a line of bricks go across, then it'll carry on with the tiles, a line of bricks, and so on and so forth. And we will start the beginning with bricks, maybe a double run of bricks, I don't know. We're going to see what it looks like. And there you go, the round window. And I think, well, I hope you'll agree, that's looking pretty good. I'm very happy with it. It was a bit of a challenge to put it in, especially as I got those slatted panels, and it was a lot of hard cutting, and I've had to cut the wire back as well. So that reinforcing mesh has had to be cut as well. And it's not perfect, but it's pretty good, pretty damn close to what I wanted. But the cutting itself isn't, is what I was trying to say. It's not perfect when you get close up, but that is not going to matter over time. Now we've decided, well, Kathy's decided that I should keep that white, and the outside of it is an orangey colour that would have been hidden by the walls. And we're looking to probably make that white as well. I don't know, I prefer to paint it a dark colour myself. But we'll see over time, because don't forget, over time that's going to be complemented by the roses, the leaves of the roses and the roses themselves. And they will be clipped around it, they won't be allowed to cover it. And it'll all add to the look. So there is the reason for putting this in. Because you've always got to have a reason for paths, really. Some sort of a reason to put them in. Don't put in a path that's going nowhere or doing nothing. That path is now doing something. It's taking you up to there. It's going to grab your interest. That window's going to grab your interest. Don't forget, the calamagrostis is well on its way up now, as the other side is as well, and some big perennials growing there. So over the next 2 months, this border is going to erupt with growth. And as you walk through here, you're going to be walking through it. And that's going to be really nice to do. So bringing it back up to the window, because don't forget, over time, again, that rose will cover this. I will have the Rosa Mosei back in at some point, which is now growing again, and it will be covering all the front of that. And hopefully all you'll see, or the main thing you'll see, is that window, and it will make you want to come up to it. And then you'll come up to it and you'll have a look through it. Point of interest. And hopefully that'll look good. And it's in keeping with what I do. And I absolutely love it. I can't stop looking at it. While we're here, we'll give this a mention. This is the Sorbus, and it's Olympic Flame. And it's just absolutely grown like mad. Look at that. I can't believe how quickly it's grown. I knew it'd grow quick, but blooming heck, those leaves have doubled in size since last week when I put it in there. We had a lot of traffic over here today, aren't there? Quite a lot buzzing over us. There you go. That's what it looks like. And it's looking better every time I look at it, this area. So it's the cloister pergola. Let's take you up to that stained glass thing there. Now, this is from a former life. I used to do stained glass design and stained glass, the double glazing type style, but I also did the traditional. Took myself on a course and learned how to do it. And this is to represent a flower, as you can see. Wacky, but that's how I am. And it's enclosed with that oak, and then it's chained up to the pergola, and it looks good. And it just swings there, just doing nothing really. Adding to the look. Again, another point of interest. But that just looks fantastic now. Kathy wants me to put a little fireplace between those two chairs that we've got in the shack, and I don't really want to. I think that's a little bit too twee for me. I think it looks just right as it is. Oh, it's nice to sit down here. And it's looking really nice at the minute. I mean, everything's coming into growth as it should. And this is the sort of views we get. Back to the shack. This is the look that I wanted to give it. Back to the shack, but look at those euphorbias. They just look stunning. This time of year, middle of spring, late spring, that's when these are at their best. These euphorbias, these wolfenii, and the brilliant little stumpy little things. But they offer so much to the garden, and one that I would highly recommend is Euphorbia amedigloides, and it's purpurea, and it's this one. And look, this is why you have that one. It's just a stunner, little stunner, and it'll self-seed around. I was hoping to find a lot more seedlings, but I've only found one so far. I only found one last year, to be honest. But I planted a few, So over time we should start seeing more and more of those. That border's yet to start growing properly. It's not there as far as I'm concerned. It is what it is. But it will get there. Everything's starting to come up. It's looking good. Right, there's not a lot else to say on that. I just wanted to bring you up to speed on that, show you what I'd been up to. I love it. So that's another little project finished. There is one other thing I am going to do to it, to that window, but I'm going to leave that for another day to tell you that once I've done it. If it works. If it doesn't work, you'll never know. But there's something I'm going to do to it, and I'm not going to put stained glass on it, if that's what you're thinking. No, I'm not. I'm not going to do that at all. So the French doors are working. That floating deck is absolutely brilliant. We've been sat there loads today. Had a few cups of tea on that today. Looking, as I said, when I built it, it would offer lots of different views, and so it does. More euphorbias. There's a euphorbia there, that's called black pearl, and I moved that 3 or 4 days ago. It absolutely poured it down with rain, and it's sulking a little bit at the moment in its leaves, but that'll pick up. So you can move a euphorbia as big as that, as long as you take enough of the clump. And it'll need watering today or tonight. I shall water that. Give it another water until it settles in properly, and then it'll be all right. What I should really be doing is taking off those flowers. But I'm not going to. I'm going to leave them for now, because I know, I'm quietly confident that once I water that again and keep it well watered, it'll be absolutely fine. Oh, it's lovely, isn't it? That's enough. I've done enough on that. I can't help it. It's just what I do. But once that path goes in, that is just going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. And who knows, I may get it done next week. It could still be a couple of weeks away. But I'll keep you informed, and I'll show you what I've done and maybe how I've done it. As I said, I'm still not editing my videos. They're one run, and if they go wrong, I start again. So that's it. That's the progress. And the round window is finally in. And that's where I'd always intended it to go. I did play about with you a bit when we was going to put it up near where the pillbox is at the top end of the garden, but I was never intending to put it there. I was just playing around. There it is. There we go. So I'm calling that finished for now. Just need things to grow. We just need the roses to cover it. And then that's going to look absolutely amazing. Okay. As usual, my tools are still out. Anyway, I'll talk to you on the next one. And don't forget, I've got an Instagram account as well, called agardenersjourney.1, the number 1. I'm on there, and I do post little bits and bobs on there for you to look at, close-ups of pictures as well. That are quite nice. Okay, I'll talk to you on the next one. Ta-da!